So Tesla this weekend got notification that they are eligible for launching a taxi service in San Francisco. This is widely being seen as a way to start deploying robotaxi vehicles in San Francisco, to which apparently you've got insider memos at Tesla saying, we're not launching a taxi service, we are launching a robotaxi service, which is starting to really piss off some politicians in California. Ed Ludlow yesterday said, is Tesla launching Uber? And Brett Winton from ARC wrote, you misspelled killing. All of this relates to the CPUC approval for Tesla to launch a chauffeur service in San Francisco this weekend. However, internal memos at Tesla suggest that Tesla has other plans. Tesla told staff on Thursday it plans to launch its robotaxi service in San Francisco this weekend, according to an internal memo viewed by Business Insider. In other words, even though Tesla got approved for a taxi permit in California because they have not applied for a robotaxi or autonomous taxi service in California, and they only have approval to operate as a chauffeur service, Tesla is telling its staff, don't worry about it, we are going to be launching our robotaxi service this weekend in California. This has led some politicians to freak out, suggesting that they will threaten to impound California robotaxis from Tesla if they don't follow the rules. Here's some more notes on it from Business Insider. The company said that the timeline for the launch has been moved up and the service could launch as soon as Friday. It's going to be this weekend. The geofenced area is actually going to be really big. It's going to incorporate much of Martin County. You've got East Bay, San Francisco, south to San Jose, so all over the Bay Area really here. You've got the program will launch with safety drivers in the driver's seat who will be able to control the car using the steering wheel and brakes. So something to know about this is right now in Texas, in Austin, Texas, we actually have a safety driver sitting in the right side, and they can really only override the vehicle to the tune of pressing that door release button to end the robotaxi service, and then they can get out of the vehicle and walk around to the other side to get in the driver's seat. They can also stay in that passenger seat, and they can sort of teleoperate by communicating back to the Tesla teleoperations support and have the teleoperations support take over. It appears to me that you're not actually going to have a teleoperations support in San Francisco. Instead, what you're going to have are basically people driving, hopefully, these upgraded Model Ys, because in Austin, Texas, we have upgraded Model Ys with extra cameras, extra sensors. We think they're just camera sensors, and antenna so that they can communicate with the teleoperation service, like radio antenna or whatever. What's interesting about this is it's unclear if you'd actually need those upgraded versions, because technically if you've got a driver just essentially chauffeuring people around on FSD, Ed Ludlow's not really wrong. It's not really different from a Tesla driver today driving Uber and operating FSD. That said, what I'd like to know is, are these the upgraded robotaxi vehicles that just have a driver in the driver's seat? That would be best case scenario in my opinion, because it would give you more opportunity to expand those greater sensor vehicles in a greater area. That said, the company has yet to apply for a permit for driverless testing or deployment in California. So California is making it a little harder, not a surprise. That's usually how it works in California. And Tesla currently has a permit for testing its self-driving software in California with a driver behind the wheel, which is fine. I mean, you could have that, a driver behind the wheel. I mean, that's basically what you have with FSD now. Somebody here in the chat says, Tesla factories are the product. Waymo can't scale. You know, it is interesting when Tesla was really gaining popularity before COVID and then through COVID, that was exactly what Elon Musk's pitch was, is that the product is not actually the vehicle, it's the factory. And that to me actually really got me so excited originally about Tesla, because I always thought, wow, here is true American ingenuity again, but it's coming in the form of manufacturing, something where America has just really lost a lot of its clout over decades, especially to countries like China. And so I was really excited to see, hey, here's a product that's great that we could actually expand using, frankly, American manufacturing. Unfortunately, lately, it seems like the goal is, let's come up with a new master plan. Let's come up with a different strategy for Tesla. We're going to go all in on autonomy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to autonomy. I guess I'm just disappointed because I think of the core business as being such a great manufacturer. And why not print money there while you can? See, like, I always like to make a reference to sort of like our goals, because I think it makes more sense when you put money where your mouth is, and then you share that perspective. So I personally think that in House Hack, for example, we're hoping to launch our AI SaaS business, portion of the business later this year. And who knows, it could be a game changer for the valuation of the company. But we're not going to destroy the core by doing that. It's not like we're going to buy fewer homes. It's not like we're going to be less aggressive in developing ADUs or developing land. We want to take maybe 5% of our capital, a small little side buffer, your rainy day fund basically, or a portion of that rainy day fund, and go, hey, let's actually put some money into this, because this could be a really good a good thing here, because we've already got our AI product. Now it's just a matter of turning it into a licensable product. And so we're really excited about that, but we're not eating up the whole business doing that, because if that doesn't work, the rest of the business is still on strong foundations. And I think that somewhat is what frustrates people with Tesla a little bit, because we look at Tesla and we say, hey, Tesla is a company that's such a great manufacturer. We could be printing so much money with newer models of vehicles now, but we're not, because of this sort of rejiggering of essentially the entire business towards autonomy. So here's Senator Scott Wiener, who says Tesla doesn't have permits to deploy autonomous vehicles in California and hasn't even applied for permits. If Tesla actually deploys autonomous vehicles without permits, these vehicles should be seized and impounded. We have a permitting and safety rules process for a reason. Elon isn't exempt. This is one of your more vocal AOC type state senators inside of California. The C-Puke, I'm purposefully pronouncing it that way, granted Tesla a transportation charter permit in March that allows the company to provide transportation services for employees. It's important to remember that a lot of people got really excited about hearing about this permit. People called it a Robotaxi permit in California, which is exactly not what it was. It was actually literally just a permit to taxi employees. That's all it was. So they really are, in fairness, within the letter of the law, they are operating a taxi service. So yes, when Ed Ludlow questions, wait, is Tesla doing an Uber service? Yes, technically, permit-wise, they are. And this is where I hope that we're using those upgraded Model Ys to actually just test the AV side, so Tesla can go back and get more permitting for that. Now, in my opinion, what would be really lame is if Tesla is not actually testing their Robotaxi service, and what they're just doing is they're just chauffeuring people around on FSD, because I think at that point it would be misleading to really investors, because the point is, hey, we want to see the expansion of Robotaxi, not FSD. And like I said, anybody can just hop in an FSD car today and get chauffeured around. So that'll be really critical when this launches this weekend to see what these vehicles actually are. I doubt I'll get an invite, because that's exactly what I'll be looking for. So we'll have to rely on other people to make that determination. Car maker currently has safety monitors that sit in the passenger seat in Austin. Tesla built a modified Y in Austin that are fitted with extra cameras and the teleoperating equipment. Earlier this month, Tesla shared a video of a fully autonomous delivery that had its own software on it as well. So that had to be disabled upon arrival to the customer. And you haven't actually seen much more of that. It's kind of like they did one and then they were done, which then, it's unclear if that actually had any teleoperating support. So usually you need to add the additional camera, or antenna equipment in, which I don't think that vehicle had. So still kind of impressive. You got to give it to Tesla. It probably is just very like, unfortunately, Elon to say, all right, we got our taxi permit, let's launch Robotaxi. To some extent, like I said, I hope that they do use the Robotaxi product and then you just have a safety driver in the driver's seat. If anything, it could actually be good for Tesla, because if you think about it, if Tesla has a driver in the driver's seat, like, what's the difference? The driver in the passenger seat versus in the driver's seat. If it means Tesla can expand to 20 times as many cities or even states, go for it. Let it happen. And at some point, the goal is to remove that person in the front of the vehicle entirely. And if that could happen faster, hey, great. That's awesome. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. But that's some of the latest drama on Tesla. LaxGuy36 says, Tesla and NVIDIA are my AI plays. Let's go. Somebody else says, there was so much Elon hate this week, way ramped up from Norm. Oh, where'd you see that? I feel like it's been a little quieter since he's escaped politics, though maybe I'm not looking in the right place. Let's see here. What else? Somebody else says, LiDAR is already down to $1,000 per vehicle or less, projected to be just 500 soon. Yeah, you know Elon's very, very stubborn. I'm going to stay away from that. I always maintain that all you really need is forward-facing LiDAR. Like, you don't really need the spinning all around the vehicle, in my opinion. The camera should be fine for this, but just have that, just eliminate the chance of crashing into something right in front of you. And, you know, if adding a little, you know, microvision style LiDAR could do that, heck, that's great. Because it just removes, like, that one bad news story of that Robotaxi crashing into something in front of it, right? Anyway, so some things to think about.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.